Something massive is coming, and no, I'm not talking about the low taper fade meme. I am talking about a significant winter storm of catastrophic proportions that models have been showing recently, including the GFS, the European, and the Canadian. Now, this is forecasting 250 hours plus out, so this is not what's going to happen. The chance this is exactly what happens is less than 1%. But if we go ahead and take a look at several different runs of these models and we take a look at the overall guidance, we can get a little bit better of a picture of what could happen with this system. Now remember, this is so far out that the models are still spewing out unrealistic snow totals, so you shouldn't focus so much on the totals, but you should focus on the actual areas that this snow is over. And remember, this may not even happen. This is all just speculation, but it is starting to get a little concerning that there's quite a bit of a trend on this. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Alrighty, so we're going to start off this video by taking a look at the 18Z run of the GFS model, the most recent run at the time of filming and uploading here. So we can see that around hour 228 out on February 11th, some snow and even some ice start to develop across sections of the Central Plains here, and this system just grows exponentially after that, alright? It shows this kind of stretching everywhere from portions of New Mexico all the way back through areas of New England, showing an absolutely massive winter storm on the north side of this system, a big ice storm in the middle, and some severe weather on the south side, something like what we saw with Winter Storm Blair, but just on a much larger scale. And Winter Storm Blair was one of the most devastating storms that this region had seen in years, if not decades. So the fact that the models are showing something even more aggressive than that is quite concerning. Now remember, I'm going to say this 1,000 times in this video, but we are forecasting so far out, so you just have to trust me that this is not going to be exactly what happens. This is completely unrealistic. This is all just a bit of fun, but it is kind of interesting that the models have been picking up on a trend this significant for so many runs now. So anyway, it kind of makes its way out of here by February 14th, but if this were to play out this way, this would be significant in the fact that we would end up seeing 30 to 35, if not 40 inches of snow across sections of the Ohio Valley, specifically areas like Ohio and central Indiana, and also quite a bit of snow up into portions of New England, areas like upstate New York, northern Vermont, and the higher elevations could also end up seeing 40 plus inches of snow, which that's not anything too crazy for those regions. Sure, that's still a lot of snow, but for Ohio, Indiana, and Illinois, that would be some of the most significant snow that those areas have ever seen, ever. There's not been a single winter storm that has ever brought 40 inches of snow in such a small period of time to areas like that. So we really have to be on the lookout if this plays out, because areas like this are not prepared for a massive storm. We saw what Blair did to these regions, and guys, Blair brought about 8 to 10 inches of snow to these regions. So just imagine that, but times 5. This is going to be bad if it does play out like this. But remember, that is likely not going to happen. So this is the GFF 0Z model. Now, we're not going to take a look at every run of the GFS, but it's very interesting because this was just earlier this morning that this run came through, and it paints a very different scenario for what this storm could look like. It shows kind of a similar thing where we're going to see snow all the way from sections of the Rockies back over into sections of New England with an ice storm in the middle and significant severe weather potentially on the south side of this system. But it shows a big stretch of ice there going all the way from areas like Massachusetts all the way back into Arkansas, and on the back side it also does show some significant snow for sections of northern New England. So if it were to play out like this would be even worse, because we would end up seeing like up to 60 inches of snow in areas of central Massachusetts and pretty much 60 inches of snow across the entire state, really. It's showing that, again, you know, northern Connecticut picks up on 40 to 45 inches of snow, same thing for Rhode Island, southern New York. But just remember, guys, these numbers are completely unrealistic, but it is genuinely a little bit concerning that these are even popping up on a GFS fantasy run, because typically these are numbers that we would never want to see on a board like this, even if we thought it was going to be inaccurate, guys. Look at this, the scale on the side of your screen. I don't know if you can see this, but it tops out at 48 inches. This is literally heavy enough snow to break the scale, and it's showing a significant amount of snow, okay? This is like, you know, 6 inches every 6 hours. That's about an inch per hour for 48 hours straight. That is something that these areas just do not see. So if it were to play out like that, it would be very significant. Now, granted, this is also after several other winter storms, but it's in a short enough time period that if it were to play out like this would still likely mostly be on the ground, because it is going to be so cold in this region for a while. So just keep that in mind. That is from multiple winter storms. It's not just from this one storm here. So moving on to the Canadian model here, it is just showing this one major winter storm for a lot of these areas again. And if we take a look at it here, we see that again, it kind of develops around February 11th across sections of the Ohio Valley, ice storm in between, and then maybe some isolated severe weather on the south side. Now, unfortunately, we do not get the full picture yet because we are too far out from this event. The Canadian model only forecasts 240 hours out, but if we take a look at the total snowfall, we can kind of get an idea of what areas it thinks would be hit the hardest, mainly sections of the Ohio Valley back through sections of southern New England there, right? So now we're going to go and take a look at the European model, and it is important to note that, again, this model does show a few other winter storms just before the big one, so that is going to inflate these snow totals a little bit, but remember, it's also going to be so cool out here that a lot of that snow will stick until this next storm happens, which, by the way, the European has by far the most aggressive view for this system. This is February 12th. Look at that. That is the heaviest snow that the European can possibly show, and it is over a large swath of Illinois and Missouri. Now, we've got that ice storm in between our severe weather sector and the snow, and the severe weather portion also looks quite significant, but remember, the European is also just a higher resolution model, so it tends to show more intense severe weather setups than the GFS and the Canadian there. But look at that heavy band of snow. It just pushes further and further eastward, and unfortunately, the European does not let us see full totals of snow, which is quite unfortunate because I really would like to get the idea of what would happen with this system here, but unfortunately, it's just not something that the European does. But if this were to play out like this, it would likely show multiple feet of snow across sections of the Ohio Valley and northern New England there. And again, it is showing multiple winter storms, not quite to this magnitude, but still pretty significant unfolding like that over the next few weeks. So that's going to be it for this video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to like and subscribe. Once again, as always, thank you to all of our channel members. If you'd like to become a channel member, click the link down in the description below. And one last thing before we finish things off here, I would like to quickly note that I do have a brand new second channel titled Davis Does Games that a lot of you guys probably don't know about yet. I've only posted a few videos on there, but I am going to be cranking out gaming content anywhere from weekly all the way up to daily on that channel. So if you want to see more of me, or if you just like gaming videos in general, make sure to check that out. There's going to be Minecraft, Pokemon, all sorts of fun stuff. I've already got several different fun series planned out on that channel with other creators, so if you guys are into that kind of stuff, make sure to go subscribe over there. But yeah, until next time, I'll see you all later. Stay safe.